In a tiny bed lies a blonde 5-year-old little girl. She carefully listens to the sound of the night all around her. She is afraid. Her blanket is pulled up halfway over her head so that the only two small peeping blue eyes can be seen over the top. What goes on in the mind of a 5-year-old? According to most 5-year-olds, nothing. But this isn't true for this particular little girl. She lies awake and wonders, will my mommy and daddy ever come back to fetch me? You see, this innocent, blue-eyed, blonde-haired, frightened little girl finds herself in an orphanage. And this child was me. When we were young, my sister and I were taken away from our parents and placed in a children's home. I was 5 and she was 1. This is the age when you crawl into your parents' bed at night, when you long to hear bedtime stories, or when you climb up on your father's lap and wrap your tiny arms around his neck. This is the age when you all sit and laugh together at the big table while enjoying a home-cooked meal, and you are surer than ever of your parents' love for you. We were told that our stay in the orphanage would only be temporary. I stayed there until matric. I remember the long days of waiting at the telephone booth. Surely my parents would phone as they promised they would. The standing position at the booth often turned into a seated position, and then I would just lay on my back and stare into the sky, waiting and praying. When the phone did ring, I jumped up as fast as I could to find out the call was not for me. Minutes often turned into hours, and yet I lived with hope. I remember the times we could visit my father over a weekend or during the school holidays. We were looking forward to a plastic bag with mixed sweeties in it. Sometimes it was just a chomp chocolate. That was more than enough. Other times we got nothing. My dad said there was no money. He did have alcohol for the whole weekend. I remember the empty fridge, a lost tomato, a potato or two that had already turned into a type of plant, and wine. There was always wine. Sometimes brandy. Sometimes I had to make food for myself and my little sister, when my father was unable or when he visited his friends. I would roll bread into dumplings and heat it in the microwave, and pour a few pieces of macaroni into a bowl with boiling water. It was like royal food. The children's home started sending food parcels at a later stage when we went there on weekends. The best time was when people came to pick us up at the children's home to go on day outings, or when they came to braai for us. Also the excitement of Christmas presents. People could pick a card from a tree at a shopping center and then buy a present for that specific child. With dazzling eyes, we opened that one gift. It was one gift, but worth so much. I remember the times we each got a shoebox full of sweets. Talk about a sugar rush. Then there was the waiting at the big gate. Every Sunday during visiting hours at the orphanage, I often wished my Sunday afternoon nap away, and promptly at 3 p.m. I would speed up to the big gate, filled with so much excitement, to watch the cars pull in and out. I would scrunch up my nose to peer right down the road to see if I could spot any familiar cars in the distance. Come 5 o'clock, and I would be left alone at the gate, tears rolling down my cheeks, remembering the promises made and broken by my parents. I remember the visiting times of a specific Sunday, like yesterday. My mother and stepfather came to visit. My stepfather was so drunk he could hardly walk and lay sleeping on the lawn the whole time. Yet nothing could dampen the joy of seeing my mother. I remember how we had her for ourselves. I started unpacking her handbag. It was the nicest thing for me to do. It was almost like opening a treasure chest. There were numerous small pieces of paper, makeup lying loose in the handbag, and also a few different pill containers and sachets with pills in it. Her handbag always had this unique smell. It was a combination of makeup, perfume, and cigarette smoke. I dug out an old lipstick holder. It was red lipstick. There were hardly any lipstick left and you couldn't even twirl it up anymore. Carefully I pressed it against my lips, but nothing came out. My mother used her finger to scratch out some of the red lipstick and smear it on my lips. I plucked my mouth to give her a kiss. I laughed from my stomach at the red lipstick mark that sat askew on her cheek. Confidently, I also used my little finger to scrape some lipstick out and apply it to my mother's lips. It was roughly smeared and went over the edge of her lips. She laughed and asked if she looked beautiful. To me, she was the most beautiful woman in the whole world. When visiting time was over, my sister and I began to cry. We just wanted her to stay longer. We so wanted to go with her. She tried to explain, but we just cried harder. Later, she held out the lipstick case to me and asked if I wanted it. Of course, yes. I just sobbed. Her condition was that I had to promise that I would stop crying, and I did. That lipstick was the best gift that she ever gave me. I held the lipstick in my hand while I watched as they drove out of the gate. In my heart, I was just hoping for many more such Sundays. I continued to hope and continued to believe that circumstances would change. But unfortunately, after 13 years, we could not be returned to their care. Red lipstick and Sunday afternoons still touch my heart. Many little girls dream about what they will become as adults, while I, on the other hand, dreamed about a family and how I wanted to be the type of person that my parents had not been for me. It has been a long journey, but by the grace of God, today I am grown, married, and happy with a family of my own. Strangely enough, I often long for days of old in the orphanage. Yes, there were hard times, but there were many good days. We were one big family. The children's home taught me many valuable lessons in life. Many I still treasure today. Over the years, I've learned about forgiveness and the grace of God. I've learned to forgive my parents, and I know that they did love us. My dream is that every child knows that they are truly loved and that they are braver than they know. Psalm 27 verse 10. Though my father and my mother forsake me, the Lord will receive me. Teach me your ways, Lord, and lead me on a straight path.